want to start with a song? We're already there.
Don't interrupt my song, man.
That was a great song. So sorry. Let's see if I can get this line a little bit better. Oh, look at that. Look at how that is. That looks so nice. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at here, there. Look at here, look at that. Look at everywhere. Hey, it's John Hayden Brady. What's going on, John?
Hey, John.
For those who are just tuning in today, I'm going to change my demeanor and start talking as though I'm a presenter. But I'm really just having tea with MR. But today we're going to be drinking tea. And what else are we going to be doing? We're going to be playing the pumpkins. And we're going to be laughing. And we're going to be... pronging things with the prong.
We have a prong.
We have a prong.
I will be using this very shortly.
Yes. We have a... what do we call this guy?
He's a dumpling man.
We have a dumpling man. He's very important.
He's very important. Without him, we are nothing.
Yes, he holds the peace.
It's very tense here, as you can see.
We also have a crystal.
We do have a crystal. Also very important.
Yeah, the
sister of dumpling man.
The sister of dumpling man. Yes.
Yes.
This helps to crystallize our thoughts.
Yes.
Into pure forms.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because we want to arrive at a station, not just be in a state. Because in a state, it comes and goes. You know?
Yeah.
You take a bunch of acid, you're in a state, and then it goes, and then life goes on.
I was thinking estate, like...
like an estate.
Yeah, like the government takes it and sometimes it doesn't take it. Comes and goes. You
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the... We do want estates.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And stations.
Yes, states and stations.
And identifications.
And identifications, yes.
Right, yes.
But when do we not want them?
Ooh, when the turtles come.
Aha, of course, because the turtles are reptilians, and reptilians have an agenda to take control of the human race.
Yes. And they do it with identification.
Of course, of course, of course.
Do you have your papers, sir?
I do not. What now?
Come with me.
Oh, I can't breathe underwater, sir. Hello, Rachel and Court. What's going on?
Hey.
Welcome to our tea party. I should just welcome people to the tea party. That's probably the best way.
Oh, exactly.
To do it. Yeah.
Well, okay. Now's the time for prongs.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Prongy. Prongy. We're giving the love to our homies.
Yes. Love to homies.
This one's for y'all. Straight to you guys. Straight to the homies. I love that practice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
As much as I really want to drink it, I'm just like, no. My homies can first. It's like, yeah, I'm ready, but... Yeah. What is his name again? Mr. Dumpkin?
Mr. Dumpkins. He has no name. I mean, I just call him Dumpling Man.
Dumpling Man, okay.
But Dumpkins acts, for short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You vibing with that?
I'm kind of vibing.
Okay.
Mr.
Right.
Dumpkins.
I can vibe. You're vibing. I can vibe. We can...
I mean, I only vibe when you vibe.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
a very codependent relationship
We
we
do.
have.
Yeah, we have issues, and at least we're honest about them. Is that still an issue when you're honest about it?
Yeah, as long as you tell the truth, I guess
Yeah.
it's no longer an issue.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
I feel like I can do anything now.
Right.
Be anyone.
As long as you tell the truth, then all things will be transcended. And Mary will be had.
Mary will be had.
Yes. Like Mary meant. Like
Oh, like Mary Men, not like Mother Mary.
not like Mother Mary.
Mary will be had.
Mary will
Yeah.
to make Mary enjoy.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, I mean, I was just gonna ask what you were drinking today, but you were probably gonna say that.
I was going to say hello to Rachel.
That's fair.
And if there are any questions that you have, or prompts for a story that you would like Peter and I to tell.
An improvised story.
Yes,
that's
we
what we're doing.
we improvise stories while we have tea. And so that is just an offering to all of you. In regards to the tea that we're having, it is a choux pour.
A choux core?
A choux pour.
Choux pour.
Yes.
Like if I was going to have shoes and pour something on them, it would be a choux pour.
Exactly. It's a very ancient tradition to pour from one shoe. Romanian, in fact.
Romanian?
Yes, exactly. You know, the...
I can't tell if you're being... Are you... Is it... Is it? I
telling
can't tell
you.
the world. I mean, in real world.
You're
I don't know.
So there is no difference between
You're right.
improv.
You're right. What am I doing?
Why would you do this?
I'm exposing my my divisive perceptive devices.
Yes, exactly. Divisive, incisive, derisive. That's a word too, right?
It sounds like a word, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, I'm really excited for this. This looks really good. This looks like exactly what I need.
This is exactly what both of us need.
Yeah, it is. Alright. Oh, it's so warm. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So let us play with words.
Play with words. Okay.
Yes. Mr. Duncans.
Mr. Roboto,
Domo arigato.
give me that sugar, honey.
Ooh, crystallized combs.
By the way, just so you guys know, we're associating off of each other right now.
Yes.
In case we didn't quite explain that. We're playing a game where we associate word off of word or phrase off of phrase.
Yes. Energy off of energy.
Energy off of energy. What did you say the last one?
Combs of something.
Cones of hair.
Catacombs of sweetness.
The dungeon of love.
Ooh, Dungeness crabs.
Sacred crabs.
Unsacred crabs.
Unholy people.
The scepter.
The kept
The gatekeeper.
The organizationalizer.
Organs of demise.
Donor of organs.
Donations to my health.
PayPal me.
Ooh. Pay me or else.
Or else I will kill you.
Yes. I was hoping you would say that because I have always wanted to die by your hand.
I've always wanted to die by your feet.
Oh, yes, and together, through deaths of feet and hands, we create scripture for a movement so that people will find balance.
Yes, like New Balance, the shoes.
Yes,
wear them,
that was her first company. New Balance, yes. But now we have hands to go with the shoes.
Yes, called Hand Balance.
Hand
I wanted
Balance.
to stick to the branding. It was already really working well with the New Balance. So
Right.
actually, it would have been more of like the old Balance, but they went with Hand Balance.
Hand Balance, yeah. When Susie took over the company, she didn't like you very much.
No, no, not at all.
No, so she fired you, and then I brought you back.
Yeah, you did.
I turned you into a small kitten, which you now lay on my lap, and you watch things.
Yes. I feel a bit insecure at times, but at the same time, you have a very warm lap, and it's very comfy, and I don't have to do that much. I can knock, I spend my time just knocking coffee cups off tables and.
Absolutely. It's good for you. Someone who's always trying to do things. Just sit on a warm lap and enjoy the breeze, the oceans, the ocean breeze.
Yes. I've really tried to learn from my past. I was like a Steve Jobs, and now I'm more like a piano cat.
Piano cat.
Keyboard cat. That's
Keyboard cat. Piano cat. Let's think about piano cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen the YouTube video, Keyboard cat?
No.
Piano cat? Oh.
Oh. Is it an actual song?
Well, it's a cat that's playing the piano. Yeah, really well.
Really well. Like
It
CGI,
was
right?
like 1 billion views. It's okay, you missed it. Probably only one view. It's actually probably a...
I'm probably the only person that hasn't seen it.
Probably.
Okay.
You know. I mean, you know who I am now. I don't have to tell you, describe myself through a YouTube video for you to know who I am.
No, I know you very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why we have such depth as
Yes.
business partners and life people.
Yes. And
Confessing my love to you right now
I know.
in ways that are deceptive yet direct.
This happens every episode
does.
where we just ooh.
What do you have in the tea besides tea?
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good question.
Right.
Pops, that's my dad.
That's what do we have inside the tea?
Well, there's love.
Love, definitely love.
Clearly some...
Here.
You put like some love juice in it.
Yes. So this space that we're in right now is a healing space.
Mhm.
Lots of love goes into this particular
So much love.
space, and that seeps into our tea.
Yes, yes.
We are, we naturally just love each other
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Yeah.
But L-theanine is also in this tea, which
Yeah.
makes us feel really great.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
On different levels.
Yeah, bro.
It's like totally, bro. Yeah, I feel like grounded. Yet it's like I smoked a big doobie, but that doobie grounded me out in a very
And made you smarter.
it made me smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smart dude.
Yeah. Smart dude.
Smart.
Totally, man.
Here,
Hit me, bro. This is actually really good. I'm totally digging this.
So, there's numerous reasons to drink a Shrewport. One, it is fermented, so it is really good for digestion. All my clients that have any sort of digestive issue, give them this thing, and they're all set. It is also for people that are wanting to get away from coffee.
Oh yeah, it's me.
And switch to tea. This kind of has the most similar to a coffee-ishness.
Yeah, it has that like density sort of to it.
So
Almost like coffee a little bit.
I'll wean people off of coffee using this.
You wean them up of coffee. Where do you take them
I take
afterwards?
them to a small chamber filled with snow bunnies.
Wow!
Wow!
You're the greatest.
Thank you, Dad.
Wean them off of coffee and lead them into the chamber of bunnies. Wow.
Yes. If only I was led into the chamber when I was young, life would be different.
Well, we all have our roles, Mr. Dev.
We do. Mine is a sad path
You
to
have,
freedom.
well, you found your freedom, and then you had to learn to take away others, but in the most loving of ways. Clearly,
Exactly.
you capture people and bring them towards an abyss of bunnies.
In Abyss of Bunnies, where then their souls go into a bag. I don't know if you remember our first.
In episode 1,
In episode 1, we just we had a soul of bags. See, this was our first what do you call callback?
Oh yeah, callback.
Callback.
From our previous episode.
A previous
Yes.
episode.
Jeff and Molly, hello.
Oh, why hello.
Welcome
Molly.
to our tea party.
Yes, where we have tea and we discuss profound things.
Yes.
And we laugh at
In profound ways.
in profound ways. Yes, the
Yes.
improfundity of profound subjects.
Yes, and we were just talking about how Amar he begged my soul many years ago, and when we met again, it was like a reestablishment. It was a coming together moment because he had my soul.
Yes.
I didn't know it.
Yes, and I gave it
Lost.
back Well, I worked on it for a couple of years.
Yeah, you did. It was really.
You know, added some little alloys. You know, you need.
I really appreciate those alloys.
Nothing says I love you than you know an alloy part.
God, yeah. Seriously. You have no idea how much that impacted me. God.
Yes.
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 No.
No.
No. So, what topic do you want to discuss?
Well, I wanted to open up to the audience. If you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about, really in any range, and we can go anywhere.
We really can.
But topic that I'm feeling. This is the first thing that's coming to me.
Yeah.
And definitely prevalent is keeping keeping your energy inside of yourself impacts you, and I say that as opposed to moving all your energy outside of yourself and focusing all your energy outside.
Sure.
I guess I would say, let me explain this in a story. I've been noticing that that I tend to when I am around other people, or maybe I just like have some sort of, I don't know, just living life, and you're like focusing on things or looking at things or like interacting with things. Like there's this tendency to like place your focus and your energy outside of yourself. And what I've noticed is that like a lot of my insecurity, a lot of my fears in life, a lot of my feeling of inadequacy comes from the place of just not being in my body. And
sure.
I've noticed that the more I like bring it back, and the more I like bring it back into my body, the more I really have no lack of worth or no lack of inadequacy, or like
sure.
or that anxiety that maybe I felt in the past was really like just me just not being here.
Right.
And so it's like it's almost like static. You know, anxiety is almost like that static of not being here. So
yes. Well, anxiety is just being static. I think that's like the ultimate definition for it. Or it's like when anything is etched in stone, which is what our identities are, that becomes like a static thing that that ultimately causes anxiety. But I also, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I think that, for me, we have like the opposite things going on, which is why we love each other so much.
Yeah, of course.
With you of like, having this like gargantuan like playfulness projection onto the outside world. Like I always kept things in. Not the genuine in that you were talking about, where you're actually cultivating and preparing the sacred ground for your evolution.
Yeah.
But just because I was too scared, to actually say anything, and I was always caught up in my own daydreaming. It's the shadow side of introvert.
Right.
Which is actually something I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
Particularly like introvert and extrovert is such very what's the word? I want to say callous for some reason, but these definitions are used to justify our problems.
Yeah,
it's
or our
like,
behavior.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So something like an introvert, which I would have considered my entire childhood, because I was really timid.
Right.
And so I labeled myself an introvert
Yeah.
as a means to continue being timid and not actually sharing my love with the world.
Right.
So it was a justification of being scared.
Right.
And that just doesn't do anyone any good.
Yeah. It really doesn't.
Same thing, if someone's like very extroverted,
right.
They just like pounce on the world and have like little internal connection. They're like, oh yeah, I'm an extrovert.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Deal with it, bro.
I don't need to self-reflect.
So yeah, that's something that I've thought about a lot, particularly in the introvert context, because so many people say that.
Right.
It's like, I'm scared of interacting. I'm an introvert. Blah.
Right. And it's the same kind of premise as left brain versus right brain. Like, oh,
Right,
I'm more of a left
exactly.
brain person,
Yeah,
so I'm
totally.
only analytical and I'm not creative at all. And that's just such a bullshit, story to me.
Yeah,
and also
exactly.
not true. Scientifically, it's not separated left brain, right brain. It's actually, there's numerous areas in our brain that are creative on the left side and numerous areas that are more logical on the right side.
Right.
And it just depends how you look at it. Maybe there's more density on the left or the right, but
Density, yes.
yeah. And it may still be the same thing with introvert extrovert. Maybe you're more densely introverted at some particular time in your life because
Right.
it's serving a particular purpose, or it's like maybe it's a protective mechanism that you're working through.
Yeah. Yeah, because we need
Second place
both.
with that. Yeah.
And it's very contextual. So yeah, at times we can be like, I'll put on my introvert hat on.
Right.
And as long as it's conscious,
Yeah.
and it's this role,
Yeah.
back to improv,
Yeah.
we're this hodgepodge of characters
Right.
that if we use consciously, then we're able to just meander into the world with a sense of fun and intentionality.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, it's like introvert extrovert is such a matter of perception too. Or I feel like ultimately introvert extrovert is, well, it's definitely like an internal label, but it's also an external label. Like, think of how many times like people come up. I don't know if you get this, but like, do you feel like you're mislabeled often in terms of if you're more okay? What is this? Let me say in my life, like a lot of people say like you're definitely an extrovert. They tell me that a lot, and I'm just like I don't feel. I'm actually very introverted. It's like I spend a lot of time alone. It's like I'm actually.
I'll show you how much I love
Yeah, right. And then I think there's other people in my life that would probably be like, yeah, Peter's definitely an introvert. He's very quiet and very reserved. So, and so it's interesting how people perceive you in a particular way or another based off of maybe your relationship dynamic or where you were in your life at the time. Or,
Oh, totally. Well, people call me extroverts now, because
They call you that?
And they either see me on stage
Oh,
at
right.
an improv show
Yeah.
or leading a corporate training,
Right.
and they're like, "Whoa, dude! Like, you're just like good with people, and you're such an extrovert, and like I wish I was like that."
Yeah.
And it's great, like for me having that ability to facilitate, it brings me a lot of joy for people that do say that, and for me to successfully show them that they can, be like that. But it's so interesting for me, like self-labeling myself as an introvert.
Yeah.
Now, climbing out of my shell, and then everyone labeling now the opposite, which is fine. It's more humorous to me than anything.
Right.
And also kind of cool,
Yeah.
It's like, I was definitely not outgoing when I was smaller.
Yeah. I can second that.
Yeah, I would not put myself on a live stream at all.
Yeah.
You probably would have.
I would have, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was always pretty. Well, I was always like introverted in person, but like as a presenter, I was always very extroverted.
Yes.
I was always like public speaking oriented, and that's where my extroverted energy thrived. And
Yes.
so that's where I missed it sometimes. I was like, oh, I'm so too introvert. I need to put myself out there. This is how I would talk when I was introverted.
That's
all the
great.
time.
Yes,
That is fun. Hey Deborah, hey Sosha, welcome to the tea party.
Tea party.
Tea party. Welcome here.
Where anything can be discussed.
Where all subjects are open to dialogue. Yes.
Why don't you give me a detail about myself, and I will justify it with a story.
You seem tense and primitive today, Mr. Dev.
Yes. So, my parents ate a lot of chocolate when I was conceived.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Dark chocolate is 80%.
Oh, God.
It was...
Did they have any self-awareness?
So, much of my nutritional intake during this very important time of my becoming was dark chocolate. And that just really seeped into my blood, into my whole being. The first thing that I ate when I was born was 80% dark chocolate. I know. It's just
I can't even. It's hard to just even begin to think about stepping in your shoes. 'Cause I was always, I only knew white chocolate.
Yeah.
I got lucky.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's why I've always envied you, Margos.
Yeah, you should.
So, as I get older, I get more and more primitive, and it's actually I just find myself, making flint all the time.
You're very good at it.
Thanks.
You're really skilled.
Thanks. I feel like when the apocalypse comes, I'm actually gonna do pretty well.
It's amazing how, what's not valued at one time can become the most valuable at another time. That's why we're friends. I mean,
Right.
That's part
That's
of
why. So as I get more melancholic through the dark chocolate, just imbibing my soul, I'm also making these primitive tools.
Yeah.
And it's I'm actually created a business, melancholic sharpness. Yes,
it's a great name.
Right.
Melancholic sharpness. It's like, have you ever felt melancholically sharp? And
Right.
I don't even know what that's like. I have no idea. You're bringing this element that it's just.
I mean, it's just it's more like it's like an assertive melancholy.
Yeah.
Because if you have a flat melancholy, like that's more like the traditional thing that we know of. It's womp womp.
Yeah.
But this is like womp womp.
Whoa!
That's actually how dubstep was created.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have my business, and thanks for noticing my state of mind.
Yeah.
I'll just continue to eat my chocolate, and life moves on.
It does move on. It really does.
I really enjoyed telling that.
Yeah, I enjoyed hearing it.
I mean, that really is how dubstep was created.
Yeah.
It's the assertive melancholy, because it is like womp womp. It's like that womp womp, but like...
I feel like it's like Amar Dev's path. Like, using sacred tools to discover music.
Right. Exactly.
In the modernist pretense. Wow.
Yes. It's just ripe with symbolism.
It really is. Gosh.
So we use improv as a means for uncovering symbols within our own journey.
Yes.
And yes, that is what we do. And I will give you a detail now.
Okay, give it to me, baby.
Yes. I have noticed that you only drink from one cup, and that cup has a picture of 3 frogs on it.
Yes. What you see is actually a part of you that is deeply embedded within you, whether you acknowledge that or not. It is the Holy Trinity.
Ooh.
And this cup, this singular cup, the only cup, the one cup with 3 frogs, represents the Holy Trinity.
Oh.
The Father, the Son, the Holy Frog.
The Holy Frost,
yes. Yeah. The Holy Frog. The Throw Fro.
The Throw Fro.
Mm-hmm. The Throw Fro is based in I guess I would say a primitive story. Dates way back.
Yes.
Even before...
Before story.
Before BJ.
BJ. You can't resist.
Yeah, right? Yes. So before Jesus, there were 3 frogs, and that is how we understood the living spirit in all of matter.
Yes.
And these 3 frogs were actually frogs because at one time they were something that was not a frog. They were princes Three princes.
Yes.
They
Prince Eye.
were very, very, very well-known princes because they were equivalent to a higher, a master saint god.
A mage.
Yeah, they were mage status. They were on Jesus level, definitely. That's why we say BJ, because these three were the three BJ.
Yeah, the three BJ.
And they had this holy divinity that was unprecedented. You could not match it. They held a connection on the world that could not be matched by anything else.
Right.
Their demise, of course, came when they chose to believe that they were the only and they were the gods themselves. They chose to believe that they were a manifestation of God on earth.
Arrogance.
Of course. And so, of course, their arrogance led them to meeting different women. These women ended up being witches. These witches cast spell on them that turned them into frogs. And now they are merely, labels on a cup that represent some sort of trinity that, I like to drink out of things that, say, have threes on them. And there's actually I'm not very spiritual. I'm really not into things like that. But I do like the story, so
absolutely,
that's how that came to be.
I'm actually a descendant of one of the witches that imprisoned these frogs on said cup.
Ooh, which one? Was it Jezebel or...
No, it was Carol.
Ah! Holy Carol.
Holy Carol! Yes, we sing her name every Saturday.
Holy, holy,
holy
Carol!
Just like that.
Yeah. And
then there's like a howling wolf. Dubstep wolf. And,
of course.
I've always been kind of a rebel.
Yeah, you have been.
So I've always wanted to free those frogs.
Yes.
Yeah. So, maybe one of these days we can cast that spell that only you know, because it's actually written on the inside of the cup, and you won't let anyone else see the cup. But
I have my reservations to that.
I know.
You know how I feel about Carol.
You don't.
I can't disobey Carol or Jezebella or Wendy. Especially not Wendy. Especially not. Everyone knows that the first one that casts the spell located inside of the cup is immediately crucified and eternally damned.
Eternally.
Turns into a lizard.
In a dam.
Way worse
than Grounded, yeah. Just perpetually.
The worst. God. Please, no. I just don't have it in me. It's like, it's not my fault. You guys got all,
hide my idea.
It's like, I don't want any of that.
But I mean, I think it's, we could really use. I'm done.
Okay, you're done?
I'm done.
Well, I'm glad that we've decided to not move forward with this because
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It was a haphazard effort on my part.
I mean, that's how it's always been. Let's not kid ourselves.
It's true. I have, I'm 110% for like 10 seconds.
Right.
Then I get distracted and. You're always such a naysayer and nothing ever happens.
Hashtag sex life. Down. But really true for me. 110%, 10 seconds, distractions.
I'm glad you explained that.
Yeah. No problem.
No problem, bro.
Anytime, bro. Got you, bro. To your
To you, three frogs.
To you.
May they be forever imprisoned.
Yes, and may you one day have the courage to release the frogs.
Yes, I will.
Even though I don't want that.
Yes.
But I acknowledge you.
Yeah, acknowledge your plight. What's up, Mark?
And Dave. What's going on?
Mark and Dave.
Mark and Dave.
Yes. I wonder what they think of us right now.
Yeah. What do you think they think?
I think they think that they enjoy this voyeurism.
Yes.
Yes.
Voyeurism. Who doesn't enjoy voyeurism these days?
It's just such a great loop.
Yeah.
You know,
really
that we get sucked into.
Yeah.
Watching other people watch other people.
I love
watching other people.
Oh God. Have you ever, got in a camera, faced the camera on the camera,
No.
but then faced another camera behind the camera that's watching the camera that's watching the other camera?
Oh, shit.
That's when you really start to experience the empty void. You really start to see its infinite potential.
That's when the anxiety just crippling.
Right, it really is. Yeah.
He's like, he's watching. He's watching. Where's my meaning?
What is this? Alright, jeez.
Well, I think we should talk about voyeurism.
Okay.
Because, you know, in
It's
the...
like the right topic.
It is the right topic. You know, it has certain connotations, but it has many applications as well. You know, considering all the technology that we have.
Yeah, right.
You know, we're constantly watching other people watch things.
Have you ever experienced that feeling, you know, when you have like a YouTuber or someone that just does a lot of videos that you watch often and you feel like you start, like you know them because you watch them so much?
They love me. Not really.
Okay, so you're not you're not an obsessive compulsive YouTuber. Okay. That's okay.
I've never been really a tuber.
Yeah.
I watch progressive metal shows.
I watch progressive metal shows
on YouTube. That's it.
Wow.
Or like tea tutorials.
Damn, you made that sound cool. God damn. That's like the most hipster response you could have given me. I'm really only into progressive rock and tea tutorials. God damn. It's fair.
What do you watch?
I've got into a variety of stuff.
Oh.
But I think that I think there's one guy I've watched for a long time. He's actually an astrology guy, and he goes by that Leo King. But he grew so much. It was cool to see his progress and growth from like just doing videos to like actually having a studio and like. So I think that's part of it. Just like the observing the growth is always a cool part of that.
I mean, that's
being
sweet.
a voyeur. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someday we'll be able to just observe people's life cycles.
Right, exactly. It's just like
in real time.
Gareth is doing so well today, you know?
Just checking on them. It's just like non-stop video feed.
Right, exactly.
Oh my God, yeah, that's totally gonna be a thing.
I mean,
it already is a thing, kind of. But,
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that they think that we're progressing?
Do you think that they think that the people watching us think we're progressing right now?
Yeah. Or degressing. Devolving? It's hard to say.
I feel like it depends on the observer. If they're digressing.
Right, if they're projecting their own progress onto us.
But maybe just the act of showing up is a courageous act in itself that is appreciated. Or it's just a true act of just absolute arrogance and narcissism.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm glad you balanced that out with narcissism.
Yeah.
I was about to feel a little too good about myself, and then you just brought it right down.
Yeah. No.
But no, that's great. I actually think one of the lessons of today is, just showing up.
Yeah.
You know, what happens when you just show up?
Yeah.
I remember there was this very, very poignant 3 months of my life where I was in college and it was handed to me to be the director of this show. This very multi-sensation show where we would use
I immediately think porn.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I mean, that's a really
that's only two senses.
professional
Though.
way of describing a porno.
But that's only two
It's
senses.
a multi. What is?
Well, I guess like there's the touch and there's the viewing.
Yeah.
But what about the other? Well, no, I
Oh.
guess there's hearing. Never mind.
But they also have the digital sex toys now that like you can hook up to your, you can hook up something
Right.
into your computer and like
Oh, gotcha.
stick it to your body and it zaps you whatever.
Okay.
It's zap you.
I was just thinking of all the senses that
Yeah.
porn would initiate, and I guess it does satisfy all of them.
It could.
But
I mean,
anyway.
if we're talking future. I'm sorry. I took this into different places. Yes.
So it's essentially taking like the spring equinox. Like, what does that sound like? What does that taste like? What does that? Taking these very important biological transitions
Yeah.
within the world, and then does that have like a scale associated with it? Does that have a movement associated with it?
That was the premise of the show, or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so we were to embody spring, essentially,
Okay.
with various like Indian rogs, like Chinese rogs, and it was a whole thing. It was
What's a rog?
Rog is like an Indian scale.
A scale, as in a
Scale, as in like do re mi fa sol
Oh.
la ti do.
So it was a musical show.
Well, that was one of the senses.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
that was
Okay.
the main one. It
Okay,
was
okay.
mostly musical, but all the
Okay.
other senses were represented as
Gotcha.
well.
Interesting.
And it came about from these things called harmonizing concerts, which is the same person that I learned from the tuning forks, that healing modality. He also did that. Anyway, it was a thing. I'd never done anything like that before. This was still in my timid days that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So, being in charge of so many people was actually terrifying. But I knew that I had to do it. I knew that if I just showed up, if I sent the call, sent the bat, the bat light out, the right people would come.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's these amazing people showed up, amazing, like musicians that, sold out concert halls.
Wow.
Just showed up and like wanted to be a part of this thing.
That's amazing.
And a lot of it was improvised because that's even before my improv days, I knew that improv was was the source of gold.
Yeah,
like when you can
right.
truly improvise something, whether it's music or a story or whatnot, it's one of the best things that can happen.
Absolutely.
So, even during the show where we had practiced for 3 months, but we had no idea what we were going to do. In many ways, we just all had to show up. Really feel what spring meant to us, and then I can actually give you the recording.
Yeah, I do want to hear that.
It was a very dear moment in my life. Just very proud of being able to do that. But yeah, I literally had to tell myself every day, I just need to show up for this, and shit will go down.
Fuck yeah.
Because if I don't, this thing will crumble.
Yeah.
And so I did, and it was beautiful, and it was a wonderful experience for everyone involved.
That's amazing.
Do you have an example of that?
I couldn't help but think of fall, what fall would be like. If I was going to be part of the fall show, I would suggest that everyone show up nude, but with big piles of leaves, and we just cover our bodies in leaves, and just play from. Yeah. That's where that's my artistic mind for you. That's my voyeuristic mind for you.
We actually did do a fall show after the spring show, and it was a much more difficult experience.
Did it represent fall?
The fall of fall.
The fall of fall.
Yeah, there was no leaves though. Sorry, bro.
That's okay. It happens. What would you say that you said? Have you had experience like that in terms of?
Yeah, just something that just terrified you, but you just knew you had to just show up. You didn't know really what you were doing. I mean, that pretty much encompasses any improv show naturally. So
right.
besides that,
yeah, you know, God, I mean, just improv. I just got to. I have to stick on the improv train because like, that was the first year and a half of me exploring improv. Probably the first 2 years. It was just so much pain. I wouldn't say it's pain. It was painful.
Nice.
I don't think there's a better word than pain because it was just constantly feeling like embarrassed and uncomfortable and like, you know, like I didn't know what I was doing and like, you know, like just I think a lot of that had to do with who I, like on a personal level, what I was feeling, you know, but like having to, like improv, like almost, it basically like, it heightens your personal experience and brings it to life in a way that like, you either really love it or you're like, this is I don't want this at all, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I learned tremendously from that, but I think one of the scariest things that I really had to embody was just like getting on a stage with my improv group, which we were all very inexperienced with performing in general, but also with each other, and just getting up on stage and doing it and having some good parts, but also you know, like just hitting, like, I mean, well, we showed up on a stage that was very dry and dead to begin with, and like that's always like, especially when you're new and stuff, like that's just like probably the hardest thing that you can do. And so all you can do is really be like, no, I'm here now, and I'm just gonna remain present and enjoy the process as much as I can. And then after the fact, of course, you know, you have that awkward experience of like, if you feel like you had a bad show and then like people are like saying, oh, great job, you know, you kind of have to be like, no, let me just be present. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. You know, instead of like, you know, sitting, sorrowing. But, yeah, I think that was more of like a more difficult challenge where it's like the rewards weren't like immediate for me. Sure. And, you know, they came out later on. But I think of one where it's like really like came out. I think often I notice that a lot of times if I'm in an argument with someone, especially with like my significant other, you know, like showing up presently and patiently, and like whenever I like make that intention before walking into it, even if I'm not really sure what I want to say or how it's going to play out, or like, you know, it's like, it's just amazing how we can leave those conversations in a really positive place. Whereas like, I just know in the past, like if I hadn't learned to really tune to my intent, it would just go in a whole lot of different directions that were not where I wanted to go ultimately.
Absolutely.
So, kind of went a couple different directions there, but...
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why I said don't use improv, because it's such a... You may not use any other experience, but, you know, it's true, like with a dead show, or like a dead crowd, and, you know, just being okay that there's no laughter. I think it's probably one of the hardest things for an improv troupe to master, particularly if you're going in a different direction from comedy. So the only troupe that I've been a part of, we were called Twine. We wanted to do more of a dramatic improv. Not that there couldn't be comedic elements. Like, we just didn't want anything to limit us. We didn't want the comedy label to impede on our creativity.
I can appreciate that.
And our first shows were definitely, they were kind of stark. And it was hard to tell if if it was the audience or if it was just our thing that was going on. But, you know, growing up in the improv world, like educationally, like, you know, there's so many little comedic memes that we're used to, and like we grow up with like laughing audiences, and when we don't hear that, then there's this lack of affirmation that what you're doing is valid. And, you know, when you end up chasing that laugh, then you do an authentic improv.
Absolutely.
And
that was a huge issue that I ran into in improv with yeah, not only just improv in general, but like with improv-based relationships, is that like I noticed that I was craving depth more and more, and I wasn't getting it from improv because it was just so easy to let's just have fun, let's just play, let's just like ignore these other things that are not in the place of humor, maybe don't reside currently in the place of comedy, and that was difficult because I was like, wait, no, we're missing a whole fucking layer here that is so important, so necessary, and oftentimes leads to comedy within itself, So
it's the best dark comedy.
Yeah, right. So I can really appreciate that, like, dramatic approach.
Yeah.
I was almost, as you were saying that, I was almost like, it would be cool if there was like a troupe where you had, you specifically brought, there were specific members of the troupe that were almost like your comic relief, or like they just naturally brought the comedy, and then you had other people who naturally just brought the drama.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, we have, we got one of our shows videotaped, and it was actually a pretty, it was a stark show. Yeah. Actually, I would like you to to see that, see what you think of what we did, because, and actually, even within our troupe, there's differences of opinion. Yeah. Like, I'm like the biggest lover of that particular show within my troupe. I was like, I thought this was baller. Yeah. Like, no one laughed. That's fine. Yeah. No, I thought there was just so many intricate little layers that we did. So anyway, I'll send that to you. Yeah, and I just want to add on to one more thing that's coming to my mind. Like, I'm curious if you have a similar perspective or what your perspective is of this, but I've always seen, like, my ideal version of an improv show is a show where the improvisers are the, what's the word? They are essentially like the film, and the audience is actually projecting onto the film, and essentially so the actors are the unconscious collective, playing out the unconscious collective, and so the actors are not only that, but they're also like a healing mechanism. Like they're helping to heal the audience through playing out the whatever is going on in the unconscious realm of the audience, and that could only be achieved through one, like obviously having a strong connection with each other and with the audience, and two, being able to traverse not only the comedic aspects but the dramatic aspects, and finding absolutely both, totally. And I think have you seen like Austin Secrets?
Austin Secrets?
Or I don't know if it's called, I think it's just called Secrets, actually. It's the improv show where they take the audience's secrets that they don't tell anyone, and they do improvised versions of them. Oh, cool. Some of them are kind of light, some of them are incredibly heavy. Right. So that I'm very appreciative of that type of show, because it creates that collaborative interface. I mean, improv is all about the collaborative interface. Right. But, when it's more than just a inspiring word, it's an actual dark part of yourself that you're revealing. Yes. And then the players have to go play it, then that's more in tune with how I approach improv in general. Right. Like, that's where healing is embodied. Yeah. I actually was talking to this teacher. She teaches like I want to say elementary school, and she within that she teaches applied improv. And she said they did this exercise once where you have two people. One person tells a secret that is true, or a secret or something that they've always wanted to say to someone in their life. Right. And so they play themselves, and they're sharing that secret, and then the other person in the scene is whoever they would be telling that to in real life. So in this instance, there was a girl that was telling her mom a secret that she hadn't told her mom in real life, but wanted to, and the secret was that like she didn't believe in God, and they played out that scene. I was like, wow, what a powerful way to like, man, like. What a great way to practice, like being more authentic and being more real, and that's where it's like I was like, wow, that's so powerful, that's like really bringing the aspects of improv, which are like, super important. Well, it's authenticity, but what improv sometimes
improv comedy sometimes doesn't bring is authenticity in your own being, in yourself, not being any other character but yourself character.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Or the characters that need in yourself that need healing.
Right. Yes. Right.
Because they're all part of one magnificent self.
One magnificent self. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Ab-so-lutely.
For $4.99, you can have your best ab workout with this Salutely solution.
It's absolutely. Buy now.
Or pay later.
But really, buy now. It's like there's two, like, people like, oh, you can just pay later. Buy now. Or, you may want to consider, like, looking at your budget. Buy now.
That'd actually be a good marketing tactic, I feel like.
Right.
Have, like, devil and angel, like, marketing tactics, and
Yes.
it just feels real at that point, because
it really
we all
does.
have this, like, contorting voices arguing with each other.
Right.
So if they see that on TV, or
yeah, they can relate. They're like,
Right,
these
they're
people understand
they
me.
know
They're
me.
not just trying to take my money.
Right,
They're showing the person that doesn't want to. It's like, you know what? I'm paying for this. I'm going to buy two. I think Jeremy needs one of these. Clearly.
yeah, clearly.
Clear.
If you want to have your lies be as clear as the morning mist upon the Himalayas, by clearly.
Clearly, the only way to lie effectively. Are you the type of person that really is bad at lying? Do you struggle to look at your loved one in the eyes and tell them something that's completely not true?
Do you stutter in the face of adversity?
Do you tense in profound uncomfortability when you are clearly mistaken and wrong, yet trying to prove that you are right?
Then this is for you. Take 2 tablets a day. It's only made from algae. Safe.
Completely safe. Yeah. Side effects include diarrhea. Lots and lots of diarrhea. Well, I can do that.
Yeah. Side effects include divisive honesty.
Yeah. Literally being full of shit.
I think we've just created the new SNL commercials.
I think so.
Yeah.
They're all done. Yeah, we have them all. What are you feeling? What do you feel like? If you had to symbolize your feeling right now, what would you feel?
I feel like an ostrich.
An ostrich.
Yes, just kind of long neck, but haphazardly graceful. You know, they're very fast.
Right. They're very. What's the word? I'm a little bit afraid of them. They have like what's the word?
They'll tear you down.
Yeah, they will.
They will
Like
eat you.
It's like a borderline dinosaur. You know, you're like
It is a
you would
dinosaur.
run into one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not getting away. Those things are gonna catch you. They're gonna chase
Oh,
you
yeah.
down. You're driving a car, still chasing you
That's
down. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, you gotta get into your like F-150,
Yeah.
like the fighter plane. Is
Oh,
an F1?
yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
No, it's an F-50.
I was thinking of like the truck. I was
Truck,
like,
right?
what do you
Yeah,
get in the truck?
it's like,
It's
that's a
it'd be
slower
like a machine
vehicle.
gun on the back of it. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, man, Aladdin from Magic. Wow, that's weird. I don't know if I totally resonated. Maybe I'm more like the rug. Maybe like the magical carpet.
You feel stepped on
the magical way.
by ostriches.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
You know, what I felt from this particular, live experience, similar to the last one, I felt like we were trying a little too hard in the beginning.
Okay.
And then we just had to slow down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
But I also, because usually, like, if I don't have my first thing of tea, like, I'm not fully integrated into the day. Like, I will admit I have a dependency on this particular thing. So, I haven't had my tea yet, like, when we're just starting these live podcasts.
Right.
And so
we should start, like, mid-tea, maybe?
No. I actually think it's good to, like, show, like, waking up Dev. Because,
get the whole variety.
Yeah, we don't want just me having this... I don't know what it is. Like, it's important to show the vulnerability.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We should probably show you, like, waking up in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Every Tuesday, it's going to get a little, 15 minutes earlier. That's actually a great marketing strategy.
It is, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, if we want to, like, really begin the process of tracking everyone's lives through social media,
right?
We're on a fuller scale, so
fully.
We want authenticity. It's like
exactly
24 hours streaming.
Yeah, we're gonna try really hard to get authentic.
We've shown.
The more we try,
right. I actually felt when we started. I felt actually good. Like I felt like in me, and actually later on, I kind of felt like I was. Maybe feel a little more disconnected for whatever reason.
Okay, interesting.
But not. I'd say that it's like because maybe I was judging myself
I was judging myself earlier.
Okay. Yeah. Because sometimes like, are we talking too much about improv? And I was like, no, we're not. No, we're not, there's no too much of anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no rules here.
Yeah. Shit.
So this is a
self-aware.
Yes, this is the self-aware, reflective. Part where we think back upon all the parts of the session where we have become judgmental of what we express and how we think that you are thinking of us. We've already. I'm actually glad that we talked about the voyeur loop. Because that is a huge part of the modern day journey. It's part of the human journey in general. It's like how to transcend the fear of how others look at you. But now when we have all these social media outlets, all these different technological, like there's just there's so much more eyes on us.
It's just fascinating how like I've been more I guess I would say active on Facebook or just on social media over the last couple months.
Sure.
Maybe like the last 2 months, and I just noticed how there's always this feeling of vulnerability that comes about. I'm just like, it's a weird feeling, and I've experienced it for years, like in doing videos and doing other things, and it's crazy, like man, I always think that I'm like, or whenever I get to a point where I really think that I'm like true and authentic in a public space, is usually the point where I realize that I'm not. And that I do care about what other people think, or like I do worry about how I'm perceived, or like I do, get caught up in like, no one liked this post, or no one there was not a lot of people responded. No one liked this post. Right. It's such a real thing. It's like, it's just, whenever it's almost like, Facebook is, whenever you post something, you're literally, all you're doing is putting it up for judgment, essentially. I mean, that's one thing. It's just like, the ability to like, or not like, or just engage in general, or not engage, is a thing. And I think, the other day we were talking about how, I was saying that how, even the choice of liking versus not liking something is an assumption about what you like or don't like as an individual and as in your identity, and so exactly. I think a lot of us are voyeurs on Facebook, or maybe detached like, I think there's a lot of people that just, like, observe, which, you know, and don't interact with it because it could mean something.
It could
mean something.
My imprint on the world will be known.
Right, yes.
Yes, we can't have that. We must be ninjas.
Mm-hmm. And I only know that because there's so many people throughout, like, my time on social media that have come up to me in person and they say, hey, I really enjoy your videos, and I would be like, wow, you know, I wouldn't say this to them, but, like, I would always be like, wow, like, I would never know that, because you've never liked a video. You never, you know, it's like, I would never, ever know that. Yeah. Or, like, but I appreciate it. I'm totally respectful of that. Like,
or just, like, the haphazard like that everyone just clicks.
You know,
just because...
Right.
I mean, how do you really know that they've even seen anything?
Right.
It's just their way of saying... They have seen it. I support you.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. But yeah, I do. There are definitely people that like don't actually watch the content or don't actually read the content, but do that, and that's totally fine. That's fine. But it just kind of is another reflection of like,
I mean,
our likes actually really is the like actually doing something in the first place? You know, it's like, and that leads into that brings me to think of like how it's so easy to suppress your creative expression when you base, you know.
Sure.
Your work on a like.
Exactly.
So you have no idea what's happening on the other end.
And then you get, you know, various movements, like hipster movements of not wanting likes as like as a form of like social acceptance.
You cannot
like how dare you like it?
Right? Yeah.
I want to be the most disliked person. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
But either way, we just want to have fun, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Enjoy the process. Like, no, the process is everything.
Yeah.
And that's just it. If you just put all your effort on the process, it's going to be
exactly
great. Like,
you know, the last 15 minutes I felt very in tune.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
actually, we shifted. I think we almost, I don't know, was that before we talked about became self-aware?
Well, before self-aware. Before.
Hey, Aaron, by the way, good to see you, my man.
What's up, Aaron? I think it was around that time.
Yeah.
You know, we became judgmental, and then we became self-aware.
Yeah.
So even that judgmentalness was actually necessary to bring about the awareness, which slowed us down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that brings out, you know, the necessity of judgment in order, like, if you're, the worst thing that judgment can do is put you in a stasis, a static place where you're full of shame.
Yeah.
But if the judgment triggers self-awareness and learning, then that judgment is actually very critical.
Yeah.
Or sorry, very. Well, yeah, critical. It was a critical junction.
Right.
And also very critical.
Right.
Towards the learning process.
Yeah.
And that's actually that's how I view emotions. There's in the Indian tradition that I'm a part of, called the Amartya, they differentiate between emotions and feelings. So emotions are, you know, what we refer to as symbols of resistance, and that's the normal anger, happy, sad, jealous, you know, whatever you want to call them.
Sure.
And that's symbols of resistance is actually the original definition for karma. So karma is not viewed as this, you know, cosmic cause and effect. You know, you do right, you get right. You do bad, you get bad.
Right.
It's actually, it's a very simplistic, cosic way of viewing reality.
Huh.
Karma is literally just what is resisting inside of you. And that will be expressed through an emotion. An emotion is a symbolic resistance. And happiness is one of the most elusive of them, because happiness is very dependent on a scenario.
Right.
It's, you know, anytime...
Wait, is it always, though? Is happiness always dependent on the scenario?
That's in this context,
okay, sure.
That's how I'm defining it, because happiness is different from joy.
Sure.
So joy is a feeling. Other feelings are, you know, patience, gratitude.
So that as opposed to an emotion.
Right, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Happiness they consider as an emotion.
As an emotion, joy is a feeling. Yes.
And what's the difference between an emotion and feeling then?
So a feeling is a much deeper experience that's often hard to describe. Like when you describe, sincerity, or you describe patience or gratitude, it's hard to actually articulate what it is. It's just something that you feel. It's something that is a part of you, and when you access that, it radiates from you. It's not inhibiting any part of who you are. It's actually a part of who you are.
Would you say that? Okay, so would you say that? Here's one way of just as I'm interpreting from what you're saying. It's like maybe joy and gratitude, or those are essence. They're an essence or a state of being. Whereas like happiness or anger or these other things are. I want to say reactions.
Yes. They're definitely reactive. They're certainly unconscious.
Yeah.
And they are symbols of all the things that are in your way.
Yeah.
They are your karma.
So when that is cleared, you get the purity of that feeling.
Yes, exactly. Then you get the feelings of all these beautiful feelings that you have. And the reason I brought that up is that, even when I'm talking about the differentiation between emotions and feelings, it's easy to create a dualistic paradigm where emotions are bad and feelings are good, and that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Just like how our judgment of ourselves became the seed for our self-awareness.
Yeah.
Emotions are teachers of all the things that are in your way.
Right.
So it's not that emotions are bad. It's just that emotions, when there's self-awareness associated with the emotions, that actually becomes your gateway to freedom.
Right.
So your emotions are your gateway to freedom when you learn from them.
Yes.
But they're not something to be, striven for.
Right.
It's you don't want to be this reactionary blob of all these different things.
Right.
You have no cognizance of what you're doing.
Right. It's not like the end goal. It's part of the process. It's the movement towards where you want to go.
Yes, exactly.
It's I like to call emotion. I like to break down the word emotion to emotion, as in like energy in motion.
Yeah.
It's energy that's wanting to be expressed, because like you said, it's like. Or resistance. It's a repressed energy.
Exactly. And that's really like, the world today is so emotional, with very little awareness of what's going on behind those emotions. Right. If we just, slow down and bring in the self-aware component, we have all the raw material. Like we're yelling at each other every day. Right? We're crying. We're in this whatever. That we can flip the switch and actually allow that to become a seed for inspiration.
Right. I've been enjoying like a lot of my relationships lately, especially the self-aware ones.
Absolutely.
But you ever get into that like scenario with someone where they're like you're they're maybe about to bring something up, and then they're like, no, that's just my own shit. And that's my own shit too. So you're like, it's like you're like, where does the line between us begin and end? Because I feel like all this is me. When you're I don't know, when you're really like taking responsibility.
It's not you.
It's not you. You're right. It's just. I've personally felt that so many times where it's like I'm taking responsibility for everything that I'm feeling right now is me, and like and being able to pick apart, well, everything is me.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily, but okay, we'll say this. In that moment, usually it's just like I realize that like this other person it really has nothing to do with me, but they're there to help facilitate me, or it's like if we're gonna have a dialogue, it's like It's like, you're right, a mirror, right. And that's like it's a powerful place to be, but it's also takes a lot of patience with yourself to be able to really like put it all on you and be like, and be like, okay, all right, this is the work that needs to be done, okay,
Yep. Absolutely, and you took what I said with the emotions and took it further, like with how are emotions projected onto other people, and how do people become the mirrors of your own insecurities.
Right.
And so thank you for completing that circle, because that's how it works.
Yeah.
Like, none of us want to project onto people. Like, we don't.
I love it. But I can.
I don't always project.
But when I do.
You will pay for it.
Hey, Sandy.
Oh my God! Yes, Dos Equis should definitely.
Yeah, totally sponsor. It's like, they're like, well, you have to at least put a lime in your drink. That's all. That's all we ask. And a beer on the table.
Other than that, say whatever you want.
Or wear a white beard. One of the
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the. And talk about like voyeurism, like you projecting on the other person, which is just a mirror to come back to you. Like that's the ultimate voyeur loop.
Yeah, right.
Like when you're truly having this authentic interaction with another person, like it's just nonstop mirrors, like going back and forth. Like it's this, miniature Russian doll set that's like in smaller and smaller.
Like for some reason, like it's bringing up this concept of, I'm just like, I think I'm not gonna say the most difficult, but one thing that I think it's been a challenge for me over the last 2 years has been just like the concept of like the better emotions, like our feelings, I guess I would say, love, is misinterpreting love. I think that that's a huge thing in our society where we project love on other people, thinking that love is coming from that other person, when it's really not. It's coming from you, and the more you think that it's coming from someone else, the more you will lack love, because you're literally giving that kind of energy away and saying like, and like you can walk away and now I lose my love, but
right. And are they actually projecting real love, or are they projecting something that they believe is love, but is actually just wanting the other person to so they're projecting maybe happiness, or they're projecting a scenario, and it's not actually that love, because love should just radiate.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to like bringing my energy in more, because I notice that like I tend to radiate love more strongly when my energy is focused here in my body, and I'm like here, and I'm stemming from here, going there, rather than like going here and like trying to pull it in or something. I think that's like a natural tendency to want to like pull something in, or like it's like when we are attracted to someone, we're like, oh, I want to pull them in, where actually the opposite is much more effective when you're like, no, I'm not. I want to pull myself in and almost like push out in a sense.
Exactly.
It's a very different
Yep.
thing. It almost seems contradictory. Like, why would you want to like push someone away, but you're not? It's a weird. I'm still trying to understand how to explain it. But.
Well, this actually also taps into another very important aspect that deals with the chakras.
Yeah.
Like, one of the biggest misunderstandings of the chakra system is that, it goes... The authentic way is for it to go in the direction towards density, where a lot of people have it, the root chakra is the first, then, and then it slowly goes up, and you have this, like, upward column. But if you really think about it, that doesn't make any sense. If it's traveling from density, to subtlety, then that means that love comes from without. And that would actually justify wanting to seek love from the outside. Whereas if love actually comes from subtlety into density, then that means that love comes from within.
Right.
So you would naturally want love to flow in the direction of density, in the direction of the other, as opposed to like, mine or whatnot.
What do you? So I'm like. In terms of just like I know it's just one way of describing it, up and down, but like... Yeah,
up and down, it's a relative system, of course. They're all symbols and metaphors.
Right. Because I always see it like as like the torus field. Like, I guess that's like that's the closest symbol that has made the most sense to me in terms of the energy flowing kind of in and out, which is like an up and down motion to some extent, but it's also
Sure.
like an in and out and like a
Yeah. No, there's definitely there's definitely a torus system as well.
Yeah.
There's a pulsation that naturally, embodies both, because all things have to return, in a spiral formation, not to exactly where it originated, but very close to.
Right.
But that the source of the spiral is very important, and to have that source come from within is necessary.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll never have any self-sufficiency of love.
Yeah.
It'll always be dependent on something else.
And that is the key word there, self-sufficiency.
Right.
I think if we were just to kind of come into this world saying, hey, my goal is to be self-sufficient, like, that would probably solve, think of how many problems in life we would solve by literally just working towards self-sufficiency as an individual.
Right.
Like, because if we could all learn to take care of ourselves, even if it was just like an aspect of ourselves, I guess that's what, when you have a job or you have a profession, technically that's you being able to take care of that part of society, because but what if we could all learn how to do that in a way that, like, where everyone can learn how to do that for themselves, I learned this trade that, like, you can also learn too and take care of yourself,
And just like, that just made me think of environmentalism.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
What bigger example of how we're focusing so much on the outside world of self-sufficiency. Whenever we think of self-sufficiency, we think of, like, solar and, like, environmental self-sufficiency, the world around us, and at the very expense of our own self-sufficiency.
Right.
And it's it's if you're not whole, you're gonna fuck up shit much more than you are gonna help.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't matter how much you try to help the outside world. Like, there's if you are broken, the message is going to be broken.
Yeah, exactly. If that inner ecology is not
inner
balanced.
Ecology. This is brought to you by Inner Ecology.
Inner Ecology. Hello, Mark. Hello, Vanessa. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's that I think that is my prime message of that that I've man. I want to embody more and more. I think that, it stems into all my political beliefs, all my, so like, if I just, it's hard for me to, like, want any form of governing that doesn't truly, like, inspire individuals to, like, be that essence, be the change in the end. Be the goddamn change. It's like, that's not the message that is pronounced to like that. It isn't. It's
right. And
there is a very huge difference between the two.
Yep.
It's like you can start, and I think one of my favorite quotes that I've heard recently is "Start where you are." You can always just start where you are. Wherever you want in your life, you can always just start where you are.
Exactly, and it all starts here. Like, no matter where you are in life, like, no matter how many traumas you've gone through, in this moment you are free.
Yeah.
Like, if you come as you are, like, no matter where you are, no matter what your development is, if you are present, you are free.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It can happen like that, like a lightning bolt.
Right.
It's just, and then you can forget it like that too.
Right, exactly.
But, the more you remember, then the more that muscle becomes resilient, I guess.
Right.
Using the bodybuilding metaphor or the working out metaphor.
Right. Yeah, and then, when I first started meditating a lot, that was the huge realization, is that, like, no matter how chaotic life became, I knew that there was always a place to, I guess you could say hide. Hide is one word, but it's not necessarily
hide with me.
You can hide together? Great. Yeah. Right. There's always a way to move away from, or to get out of it, and we always have our way out. And it's, and you don't even have to kill yourself to do it. It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
How great.
Before, at the beginning of this this live session, I was talking about station and state.
Yeah.
I didn't fully explain that, but it goes back to this principle of having this muscle that's now trained.
Right.
You know, our whole being is trained towards presence. Then you've arrived at a station, like you are there. Like it's not a state that comes and goes.
It's like a broadcasting center.
Yeah, it's like you've reached this particular station.
Yeah.
And you are there.
That.
Like
Ooh,
you,
I like that a
and
lot.
it's always there with you.
Yeah.
And then you'll move on to the next station.
So I just want to kind of play off that real quickly because
Sure.
like that first station, like I'm thinking of like a radio station where you can dial into all these different frequencies and kind of have an access to like this analog scale of frequencies.
Sure.
And maybe you can communicate with different things, but if you go to another, what happens when you change stations?
Oh, I don't know. Anything.
Anything's possible.
The point is that you've arrived, and there is no arrival. It's all a process,
Right.
but there becomes a point when things get crystallized, and that was one of the inspirations from earlier in this session. This crystallization.
Oh right.
And when things become crystallized, then that's simply a part of who you are now.
Right.
If gratitude has crystallized into you, then you now are a walking symbol of gratitude. You will never forget that.
Yes.
There are other lessons you'll have to learn afterwards,
Right.
but that gratitude is crystallized. Like you've reached that station of gratitude.
One thing I've been learning recently is like being more intentional with my life. I know we've talked about this numerous times, but like I've just been like before I do anything, like before showing up here, I always connect to what's my intention.
Sure.
And one thing I've noticed is that like the constant intentions that are always like I'm always wanting to emit is connection, authenticity, and joy. Those are the three that are always there. And I'm noticing how that's just starting to become, the more I connect with those, that's just starting to become like it's. I know there's going to be a point where I don't need to like address them because they're just running
there.
on this below the surface. Like they're just part of who I am. They're crystallized states. It's like part of my station. It's what's built. It's the foundation of my station.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's really cool. And then and what I'm realizing is that like the more intentional I become, the more specific I can get with that. So it's like. And I can only be more specific because I have a foundation of intentions already laid, and now I can be like, well, what is it now? How do I want to specifically, maybe guide that joy or love or connection
Totally.
or like. There's so many specific ways in specific environments, with specific people that might be, more useful or help to shed light on different things that maybe, weren't there before. So,
Totally.
But
Absolutely. Yeah, for actually, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And for me, quitting drinking was one of the biggest station arrivals for me.
Interesting.
Like
Yeah.
once that social lubrication, which is what that substance meant for me, and just relying on it because I was so timid, when I was younger, like. Once that decision happened and I arrived in this place of, self-acceptance, that was one of the biggest stations in my life. That became crystallized. When I no longer had to rely on that thing, that was probably one of the biggest moments for me.
Wow.
And it's so interesting that improv, tea and meditation came right afterwards.
Really?
Like, it was literally, it's like
Wow.
I had to let go of this thing in order for these other things, because there was just no room for it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it just couldn't come through.
Right.
Yeah.
I just can't. Yeah, I can't imagine you taking a shot before.
Right.
Can you imagine being drunk and drinking? I mean, that just wouldn't be fun. I just don't see anything good about that. Well, that's like our batteries.
Our batteries.
Batteries. I don't know. Yes.
Yeah. I thought the final half hour of this segment was really genuine.
Yes, to be self-aware again.
Yes,
I agree.
exactly.
It felt good. Actually, that's what I want to talk. Okay, so since we're coming to the end of the show here, like, what's a way that you think we could be more like real or like connected or like in touch when we start our next show? Maybe earlier on. Or,
I don't know. I think it's necessary for us to to not be connected sometimes.
Yeah.
Or maybe your perception of connectedness, because I think we both felt different things around
totally
that first thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think we just continue to do what we're doing.
Right.
What's interesting about this was that the genuine parts felt more dialogue-y than improv-y.
Right.
Like in the other parts of our sessions, like the improv really prompted like inspirations that led to other things.
Right.
For this, like we did like, let's pause.
Right.
Let's talk about the pause.
Right.
Let's talk about why we're pausing. You know, and that led to these other things. And so, you know, every day is gonna be different.
Right. It's a useful mechanism, the self-aware.
The self-aware, yes, exactly.
Self-aware button. We should have a self-aware button.
Self-aware.
You're self-aware.
It has to be the most crass noise.
That would be so fun. I would like, you know, like the easy button. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yeah. I want the self-aware button. You're like, we're just bad. I'm not real. It's like, I'm being fucking. I'm sorry, bro.
It should just be like electrocution.
That would be wow. So many problems.
So many.
You just like pass out for like 2 minutes and wake up. You're like, where am I? I
feel great.
Yeah.
So much joy.
So much joy. Any final words from Mr. Dev?
You know, I kind of feel like I kind of want a Sesame Street ending.
Yeah.
Like this was brought to you by, you know, and all the themes that we've touched on.
Oh yeah.
So this session was brought to you by
self-awareness,
crystals.
Wow. Okay.
Judgments.
Emotions and feelings.
Yes. Chakras. Yes.
Voyeurism.
I think voyeurism is the ultimate lesson that we
Ultimate
learned.
lesson, definitely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Great.
Love.
Yeah.
I love you, bro.
I love you too. And we love you all out there.
Yes, so much so. Thank you for watching, y'all.
Peace.
Have a wonderful day.